Athens and Sparta. Two city-states, two paths. And the confrontation that shaped Western civilization. When history is not about right or wrong. Imagine standing on a rocky hill, overlooking ancient Greece more than 2,500 years ago. There is no unified Greek nation. No common flag. No central government. Only hundreds of independent city-states, polis, small, proud, suspicious of one another, and frequently at war. Yet among all these names, two city-states stand above the rest. One believes that human beings are born to think freely, to debate, to make mistakes, and to correct them. The other believes that human beings only have value when they submit to discipline and are ready to sacrifice for the collective. These two city-states are Athens and Sparta. Their confrontation was not merely a war. It was a collision between two social models. Two radically different understandings of what freedom means, who should hold power, and what human life is ultimately for. Geography and destiny, when nature shapes the mindset. Athens, a city facing the sea. Athens lay in the region of Attica, dry land, poor soil, unsuitable for feeding a large population through agriculture alone. But Athens had something else. The Aegean Sea. The sea brought more than fish. It brought trade, wealth, ideas, and foreigners. Ships sailed daily into the port of Piraeus. Phoenicians, Egyptians, Persians. Each carried a different way of life, a different belief, a different story. Athens had no choice but to learn how to live with difference. And from this necessity, a mindset slowly emerged. There is no single absolute truth. Everything can be debated. Sparta, a closed city in the heart of the land. Sparta was different. Located deep within the Peloponnese Peninsula. Surrounded by rugged mountains. Few seaports. Limited trade. Limited contact with the outside world. But Sparta's greatest problem was not isolation. It was fear. Sparta ruled a vast territory populated by the Helots, serfs who vastly outnumbered Spartan citizens. The Helots worked the land and sustained the entire society. And Sparta knew one thing with certainty. If the Helots ever revolted, Sparta would cease to exist. From that fear, the entire Spartan system was built. Political systems, who gets to decide? Athens, an imperfect democracy. Athenian democracy was not the idealized story found in textbooks. It emerged from class conflict, debt crises, the constant threat of civil war. Eventually, Athens embraced a radical idea. Every free male citizen had the right to participate in political decision-making. No noble birth required. No aristocratic bloodline. At the agora, a potter, an olive oil merchant, a shipowner, could all stand up and speak. Athens understood the risks. The crowd can be wrong. The crowd can be emotional. The crowd can make terrible decisions. But they accepted this because they believed freedom with mistakes is better than correctness imposed from above. Sparta, stability through control. Sparta did not trust the masses. Its system included two kings, so no single ruler could dominate. A council of elders. An assembly of citizens, largely symbolic. Real power rested with a small elite. Sparta believed order matters more than fairness. Stability matters more than freedom. To Sparta, democracy was a threat. Education, creating human beings or creating tools. Athens, education of questions. Athenian children studied Homeric literature, music, mathematics, rhetoric, philosophy. Not to turn everyone into philosophers, but to teach them how to ask questions. Athens believed, those who think independently are harder to turn into mental slaves. Philosophy flourished not because it was encouraged, but because it was allowed to exist. Sparta, education of endurance. In Sparta, education was called the agoge. From the age of 7, children were taken from their families, trained to endure hunger, trained to endure pain, trained to obey without hesitation. Emotion was considered weakness. Independent thought was considered dangerous. Sparta did not need thinkers. Sparta needed men who would not hesitate when ordered. Athens produced citizens. Sparta produced warriors. Women, two different kinds of freedom. In Athens, women had little political power, were largely confined to the household, exercised influence quietly, indirectly. In Sparta, women trained physically, owned land, spoke openly and forcefully. But this was not born from equality. Sparta needed women who were strong enough to bear warriors, capable of managing property while men were at war. Spartan women's freedom was a byproduct of militarism, not a humanitarian ideal. The military, philosophies of war. Athens, power of the sea. Athens built a dominant navy, fast, flexible warships. Athenian warfare was hit and run, mobile, avoiding direct confrontation. Athens knew, lose the fleet, lose everything. Sparta, power of the land. Sparta mastered the phalanx formation, iron discipline, close quarters combat. Spartan warfare was slow, relentless, unyielding. Sparta did not need innovation. Sparta needed endurance. A war no one won. When Athens and Sparta clashed in the Peloponnesian War, both believed they were right. Athens relied on wealth, allies, naval power. Sparta relied on time, discipline, endurance. In the end, Athens collapsed from internal division. Sparta won the war, but was exhausted. Greece was weakened, and the door opened for Macedonia. Legacy, who won in history? Sparta disappeared. Athens survived, in ideas. Modern democracy is imperfect, but it carries Athenian DNA. Modern armies study Spartan discipline, but they do not live like Sparta. History does not choose sides. History preserves lessons. The question that never ages. Athens asks, how much chaos are we willing to tolerate for freedom? Sparta asks, how much individuality are we willing to sacrifice for stability? There is no absolute answer. Only choices. And every society, in every era, is unconsciously choosing between Athens and Sparta.